So, before we start, maybe a quick round of introductions. Your name, your company, and keep it short. We have lots to discuss. You're not a telco, but you help them to be successful. So maybe Daniel, I'll let you start.
I can do so. So yes. My name is Daniel Rühmann, coming from Simply TV, and we are helping around 150 TV operators and leading TV platforms to transform the TV experiences where we are aggregating a ton of metadata. Around 10,000 TV channels and 250 streaming services that is allowing guys like here to make a better next experience.
Yeah, and the questions that these three can't answer, I will ask to him because he will represent the 150 that are not on the panel today. Peter.
Hello, I'm Peter Wassong. I'm from Deutsche Telekom's European business. I'm based in the headquarters in Bonn, DT in Europe, and for avoidance of doubt, Europe means Europe minus Germany. It's always very important. We are operating telco business in 10 European markets, pay TV in 9 European markets, roughly 4.3 million pay TV subscribers. We're quite big in the industry.
There's another one who's quite big in the industry. Frank,
exactly.
ex-DT.
Ex-DT, exactly.
Now on the dark side?
No, not on the dark side.
The red
right
devil.
side.
The red devil.
Frank Rippl, Global Head of TV at Vodafone. We are also operating a quite big TV operations across 9 markets. And what I'm taking care of is the Vodafone TV product, which we have rolled out in all markets and growing very well right now.
Perfect. Thank you, Frank. And Elena from A1.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Elena Petrova. I'm head of content partnerships and media solutions in A1 Telekom Austria Group. We are part of America Movio, and we have 7 operators in Central and Eastern Europe. Happy to be here today with you.
Great. So, first question, and maybe we just do it with raise your hands. Who of you is already a super aggregator? Hands up.
It depends by definition, I would say.
Yes.
Okay, so you have a good question. So what is your definition at Deutsche Telekom? What is a super aggregator?
There are different ones. I mean, if you're defining it by having a great TV content portfolio, having a great TV product, and having a best-in-class telco product being together, we are for sure a super aggregator. When it comes to just looking at the big streamers and whether we have them all in all markets, I would say we are getting there. And if you're talking about aggregating all content, all the tier 2, tier 3, and all the long tail content together in all markets, I would say, does it move the needle to go there? So it's a bit of
We're going to discuss that in a second.
Okay.
Frank, for you, what's your definition of a super aggregator?
I think a similar one than Peter's. So we are a super aggregator today already. We are bundling fixed, mobile, and TV, and of course OTTs and OTT streamers. And what we are looking into is really on a regional base decide on our content portfolio and our content strategy, because we have different markets and different market conditions, and also different relevance of the different content players.
Okay. Elena, similar?
Absolutely similar. So actually, super aggregation is not the new kid on the block anymore. Nope. It's the default strategy, I would say. And I would correct a little bit the question to actually what makes a great super aggregator. Is it having like 20, 30, or even more random apps stacked in a bundle? Or definitely not from my side. It's more important actually the quality than the quantity, definitely. So back to the question, yes, we are a super aggregator, and we are definitely planning to continue evolving the service and attracting the right content partnerships and providing the best value to our subscribers.
Okay, good. So we have 3 that are considering themselves already super aggregator. What about the other 150?
I would definitely say we are a massive super aggregator. As I said, 250 streaming services, all getting aligned with unified IDs. It has normalized data sets. That's super aggregation at the highest possible level.
Yeah, I remember somebody, I don't know whether it was Deutsche Telekom or Vodafone, saying if you want to be super aggregated, you need super metadata. That's one, but your customers, I mean the 150 customers you mentioned, Are the majority of them super aggregator, or they try to get there, and what are some of their challenges?
I think we see very similar patterns to what we are experiencing right now with Vodafone, Deutsche Telekom, and A1. They want to get there. Let it be 3, 4, 6. That's more or less where they're getting to. But of course, we operate globally. That means we need to cover many, many streaming services. But everyone, when I'm looking across the hall here, I am seeing a lot of you that are trying to get into that. We have some operators up to 22, 23 different streaming services indexed at the moment.
Wow.
And then we have others where they say, let us take the bigger ones if they can get the rights to do so. But anywhere between a couple and then perhaps up to 2 handfuls. That's where what we're seeing at the moment.
Okay, let's talk about limits. Peter, do I need 22 services? You said if I want every long tail and every little thing, does it make sense? Because it will be very difficult to find stuff.
Yeah, first of all, I think in our footprint we don't have 22 services which are available. So, but it's a good point and a fair point. Do we really need that? I mean, on the proposition side, the problem of all these OTT streaming services is they have a very big ego. Yeah? So that means they want to be in your hero proposition, they want to be in bundles, they want to have a high share of voice and everything. So that is what they demand. And in the end, how often can you change a proposition in front of the customer? Mm-hmm. We want to have a very simple portfolio usually, and having too many different bundles, I think, is something which is very challenging. Also on the IT side, the integration part, of course, it's one. In the end, what is the best case is always like kind of a mega stream bundle where you have like the top players in one bundle and then just sell that one. I'm a big fan of that personally. But in the end, of course, you have the question of affordability for the customer. Mm-hmm. And then you can say, okay, then we give discounts on that, but then you come into the next problem, which is the profitability problem. Yeah? So because aggregating OTT players is nothing which is optimizing your line item of profitability. Mm-hmm. I think that the traditional carriage deals are much more profitable in the end. But is it about profitability? Because what we want to give to our customers is maximum of content, choice of content. I want to give them bundles, and so it's a bit of a trade-off, I would say.
I heard, I think, Virgin saying we're bundling the top 4 or 5 services. Is that a good number? Would you agree?
Yeah. I would say feasible, yeah. I mean, in Germany, for example, colleagues from Magenta TV, they are bundling now, what is it? Netflix, Disney+, RTL+, Apple TV+, so that's 4 already. So yeah. Depends on the commercials, again, yeah. As always.
Frank, in the markets you operate in, similar, is that the right number, 4, 5, more, less?
That's the maximum, I would say.
Okay.
In most markets, we're trying to bundle 2, 3 OTT subscriptions and offer that, and certainly 22 is far too much. When you also look on our, let's say, channel lineup, we used to have many, many different packages for customers. We really streamlined it and made it more simple for our customers to decide for different content packages. And I think that's something we shouldn't follow up, to really fragment our offering, that our customers don't understand it any longer, because we offer 20 different options to them. I don't think that's feasible, and customers will understand it.
Number of services is one thing. What are other success factors? You said keep it simple, make it easy, quality. So if you just say some of the success factors, if there are some that want to follow the role models here, what's key to success? How do you become a great super aggregator?
Well, the winning strategy from our side is actually, I would simplify it with two main points. Mm-hmm. Diversity of content and simplicity of use.
Diversity of content, simplicity of use.
May I add one?
Add one.
Localization, not meaning in the language, but local content, that you have local relevant content in addition. Because in the end, if you everybody has the same apps and the same channels, you need to have differentiation. And I think that local content is something which is very important, and also that is something which is differentiating us from the big streaming, like Prime Video or whatever. Yeah? So,
like if you have Croatia, then you have Croatian local content.
I would say relevant content for the specific market.
For each market.
And our content audience.
So super aggregation needs to be one size does not fit all.
It's definitely not true.
And because if all of you have Netflix, Disney, Paramount, and so on, how do you differentiate?
Yeah,
you all look the same.
You need the icing on the cake in the end. Yeah? And I think, look, the same is a good point because you have to give your offer a kind of personality, a character. So, I mean, for example, in Greece we have Cosmos History, which is our own branded history channel in Greece, which is really working well. Super local content. Yeah? Only works in Greece, of course.
I would definitely add, so definitely the most important thing is the content, right? So content is the king, I completely agree with that. But a smart way of distributing these partnerships and these apps is also really key for me. So this could be the queen, right? And the magic wand from my side is also the technology behind, right? So to give them the easy and simple way to the subscriber to access the content they would like to watch right now.
Okay. From your side, when you try to help them become a super aggregator, what are the key things you tell them they need to do?
Yeah, so first of all, there's of course a lot of ingestion of all of these big streaming catalogs. We see that there's complexity when it comes to the technical specifications. You have probably seen that it can take months and months in order to implement one streaming catalog. So there's a technical barrier just in order to get specifications to work together. Then there can be a rights element. We see that especially the big streamers, they are very sensitive to how do we handle their images, how do we handle their descriptions, are we actually indexing or are we aggregating the content, so do we make deep linking? There are a lot of things that you need to take care of. And each of these big streaming services, they have their own rule set that you need to adhere to. And that means when we built SimpliTV and our backend, we needed to build a system that could cater for all of these specific rules. And that's what we can do at the moment. I want to say you talked into local content. Something like keywording, so deep content tagging, that's extremely important because when it is that people are searching for content and it's not localized in terms of the keywording or in terms of how you can create carousels, swim lanes, then you're starting to lose the local feeling of content.
And especially if you have so many different apps on your proposition and different content sources, it's very hard to find the content. Yeah? And if I just can, like a voice search, say I want to watch that movie with that where the rat wants to become a chef, yeah, it becomes Ratatouille. Yeah? So it's, I think, before I search for that movie in my different offerings.
Yeah, so definitely the degree of metadata, but also localizing the metadata. That's extremely important. But I want to just get back to some of the requirements we see from the big streaming services. You'll see that, for example, a Netflix or a Disney Plus, they simply don't allow either cropping of images, they don't allow changing to the descriptions, and that's putting a really, really difficult functionality, or at least you need to adhere to so many rules from these big providers. So that's where one size does not fit all. And that's very important from a technology backend. And that's also the reason why we say we are a technology first company. And then for some reason we ended up doing metadata at some point. But it is technology driven because the data that we get from the big streamers, it's good. And it doesn't matter whether we have 5 or whether we have 22. But the data is, in general, it's good, but it has to be localized.
You mentioned a good point about rights. So how easy is it to get the metadata? I mean, you have somebody who can perfectly integrate it, and there might be tech challenges, and that's all great. But if the streamer that sometimes are your competitor, and part of the study that I've been doing with you and a few more said, my supplier is competing with me. Actually, they want to kill me, somebody said yesterday, and I'm not trying to look at him right now. So how easy is it to get the metadata that you would love to have to give a great user experience, but if they say, no, it's my metadata, you don't get it, my customer, if they're competing, how do you solve that equation?
This is your core topic, not mine.
So Frank, how do you arm wrestle?
The entire discussion is always around how we can establish a commercial relationship which is of benefit for both.
Yep.
If both parties see a commercial benefit of working together, then it's also in many cases much easier to find ways in integrating the content and guiding customers through our controlled environment to that service. I think that's two sides of the medal. If there's commercial incentive and an agreement on common goals, then you can make a lot of things happening.
And sometimes it might take a bit longer.
And sometimes it takes a bit longer.
Anything to add from your side?
Actually, similar situation. So it's all a topic of negotiations and discussions and partnership at the end of the day. And if the partnership is beneficial for both sides, then it's possible to get what you need to have, right?
Okay. So not always easy. So let's assume we agree you are super aggregators today. How do you stay one? How do you make sure that in 2, 3, 4 years you're still a super aggregator? What do you need to take care of? What do you need to pay attention to that makes sure you can stay where you are or grow?
I mean, what you said earlier, that my partner wants to kill me, or what did he say?
Yeah, I was quoting somebody.
If you talk about, for example, Prime Video with channel integration and everything, so yes, this is an 800-pound gorilla in your front yard, yeah, when it comes to competition. I mean, in general, you used to have like 3 bubbles. We had content partners, we had MVPDs, we had device manufacturers, and they're all moving more together now. Yeah, so they have a big overlap in the middle now, where you have Apple doing everything, you have Google doing everything, you have Amazon doing everything, so it's getting quite complex to juggle with all that around. I think one remedy is the local content topic, but I think the second remedy is that we are linking TV with our core product, which is telco in the end. Yeah? So we are being the one-stop shop for communication and entertainment, linking all that also when it comes to the contracts, and then what we call at DT is Magenta 1, which is our hero proposition, where you get benefits if you're having more than one contract. And for example, in Slovakia, we have what we call new Magenta 1. If you're having more than one contract, you get a discount, but you can also not take the discount, but you get double the value for an extra service or more mobile data or higher broadband speed. Yeah? And then you can link even telco product with OTT without having a TV product. So I think this universe of combining telco and TV and entertainment is something which is keeping us relevant.
Okay.
That's a very important point, I think. Not to only look on the TV space, but as a telco, look on a wider view on the services we are in the household, meaning broadband, mobile, and TV, and combining that in a combination is our strength and our asset we have. But we must not limit it to a TV service only when we talk about content partnerships and so on.
Yeah, it's more than just bundling video.
Yes.
It can be a lot more, and that great segue to the next question. What else is there? You have connectivity, you have mobile, you have video. Is that it? You mentioned we need to make sure we serve the core really well. What is beyond? Gaming, esports, sound, music. What works actually? I mean, we can discuss about many theoretical things, but where do you make a difference?
So absolutely everything actually which you just mentioned. So, but staying relevant still for our customers. So we would like to focus on the diversity of content. So adding video and all other apps or which could be interesting for our audience. You mentioned them already. So is it a fitness app or cooking or gaming or esports or sports, etc. So we would like to stay relevant and to provide the best possible service to our customers. However, let's say we do not want to be one of those big buffets, right, offering mediocre dishes, right? So we would prefer to be this nice, perfect Spanish tapas bar, right, where you would like to come often and because you get a very good service. So we really prefer to have a little bit less less, but good quality of apps and possibilities to the customers.
I translate that with premium service.
Premium service, yes. Premium service, so exclusive partnerships, really valuable for our customers, something they would like to watch and to listen to. So really focusing on what they would like to have.
What you just mentioned on differentiation, what we have done at Vodafone is we have launched the Vodafone TV Play, the Soundbox, which is really a differentiator in terms of user experience and immersive user experience in the living room. We've launched it now in 3 markets, and it's really a product which is highly appreciated by our customers.
Maybe explain quickly for the audience who's not familiar, what is it?
It's a set-top box with an embedded Bang & Olufsen speaker, which you can put in front of TV, and really provides an Dolby Atmos a great sound experience to our customers, which is a differentiation to a normal TV product where we only supply a set-top box or an app.
Yeah.
And this we have been seeing as a product which really was scaling over the last 18 months, and also with super positive customer feedback in terms of user experience. And on that device, you also can see multiple new usages like radio, like music. So this is a device where we can really differentiate and add additional content when you just said the music part. That's super essential, also going beyond video, in particular for this product, because with that product you open up new use cases beyond the traditional video, plus you have a cinematic experience at home.
What's your price tag for that?
€5 a month.
€5 a month.
Yes.
Yeah.
On top.
On top.
I had the pleasure to get a demo at their unnamed supplier at CES, and I must say it's quite impressive. So there's a version that you have just the box, but some with external wireless speakers, and that is blowing you away.
It's really an outstanding sound experience.
Yeah. Does it change the churn rate?
It does.
Significantly?
Significantly. It does lower the churn rate, so it really creates stickiness.
Okay.
And additionally, we see customers subscribing to more content as well. Yeah? So there are 2 elements which we can see from that product, not only having extra revenue or a higher ARPU by that product, only by that product, by the box, but also we see a higher likeliness that customers are subscribing to more content packages or SWOT services.
What is churn? What is churn?
I will not tell you.
Of course you're interested in churn. Never heard that word. So how do you differentiate, Peter?
Not with the Soundbox.
Yet.
Not yet, no. I mean, as I said earlier, so differentiation via icing on the cake content is something I think we can do. But in the end, it's the overall experience. Yeah, it's that you have everything out of one hand, and that is really best-in-class product.
Good. How do you help your customers to differentiate?
Yeah.
Daniel?
So I think we see at least sports is a key driver for this. It's of course still within the TV universe, but to make this immersive experience, whenever it's about statistics, when it's about how we can link, it's also the super aggregation into other apps, make them searchable. But it's also coming down to like books, it's coming down to music, but it can also be gaming. So whenever you are on content that we can create the right recommendations for these games could be relevant. It can be both in kids areas, but it can also be in a more adult area, where again the metadata is playing the link between pieces of content or pieces of product. So I'm of course agnostic. I don't care about what I need to index, how I need to link it, but at least a data model should support it and should not be locked into just TV or just streaming, for example.
But for gaming, I always lack a bit the business model, to be honest, and the fantasy for that. I mean,
but that's your business.
Yeah, because casual gaming, so advertise-funded casual gaming, I think people are stopping that by the first advertisement. That doesn't work. Hardcore gamers they have their equipment for that, yeah, so they have their computer. And who is paying for that?
It may not be the game on your TV. I think Virgin, maybe we have a chat in the lunch break, and also BT. They just sell you Microsoft passes and more. we'll need to get you on stage next time, explain more. So it's not the classical,
yet another bundle.
let's
Yeah.
play something. It's just another bundle,
Okay.
leverage your subscription, leverage the trust you have built with your customers.
I mean that's a good point. I mean, when you're asking how will we stay relevant and how do we differentiate, creating younger propositions, like having less linear channels because they're not watching TV anyhow, but more bundling in like what you were saying, Xbox or YouTube Premium or other stuff which is younger. Yeah?
But that's the point, going beyond video and what we just mentioned on that we are aggregating already broadband, mobile and TV. Of course, we now sell Copilot, for example, as a subscription as well to customers.
You do Perplexity, right?
You do Perplexity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, of course, we're extending our portfolio in different directions when going beyond TV, not limiting it to video, and adding up additional services we can combine with our core services. So this is certainly a way how to stay ahead of the game.
So you have access, all of you have access to the same technology. You could buy all the same content. You could change the colors and the buttons and that. How important is brand in that game when we talk about building trust? Super
important because you're saying it builds trust. Yeah? I'm very proud to say that Telekom brand is the most valuable brand on telco in the world, so which is helping us quite a lot actually. So, and also all the NPSs, so Net Promoter Scores and trims we're having, we are quite good in our brand currently. So that is something that we have developed over the last couple of years, being what we call the love brand. Yeah? So, but that's helping you. And of course, you want to partner with other big brands then, yeah? Be it Netflix, be it Disney, so
Yep.
that is.
Elena, on your side?
Yeah, well, very important, of course. So we launched, in all our markets, Netflix, then Sky Showtime. We're just launching in the last country very soon. So it's really, really important to have the right content and brands which speak a lot to the subscribers, right? And on top of that, to add the additional ones as well, so that you stay relevant to them. So it's important.
Anything to add, Frank? Good. By the way, if you want to learn more about the future, we're going to have a masterclass in the lunch break. So if you now all want to come, we have a problem because there are only 50 seats. And one of the questions I asked in a survey during the last half year, and now we'll hear on stage, is, I give you $100 million, what would you do with it? So 3 of them, plus Jarle Jonsson from Altibox, will be interviewed, and you will hear some of their priorities on where are things heading. That's in the lunch break at 1:20. And before, I will give you some highlights of the study that included 14 different telcos and pay TV operators, mostly Europe, a bit of US, a bit of Latam. So invited to come there, and maybe Sam will tell me we need to do it here because we will have 200 people wanting to hear that. We'll see. Good, but we're not done yet. So we see younger generations. I saw the presentation of Virgin. The viewing habits and where they consume and what they consume, very different if you're below 35 or plus 35. ITV puts contents, shorts, and so on YouTube. I mean, they generate their own content. Some of you do in some markets, in others not. Could you not care less because you're a telco and not a broadcaster? Or how important is YouTube as a partner, or are they a threat? Peter.
As I was saying earlier, these are merging now, yeah? Frenemies. So friends and enemies in parallel. In general, say YouTube is a great content partner because the great thing about YouTube is the stickiness, because people who are subscribing to YouTube, I'm talking about YouTube Premium now, I think they have a very low likelihood to churn because there's literally every day massive content being added on from their favorite creators. And so you're not waiting on the next season of anything, it just pours in there. And that's why I think YouTube is a great content for young people, and it's highly professional produced now. So from that perspective, I think it's very relevant. But of course, again, it's like Prime Video, yeah? It's something where you have competition, but you have to deal with that.
Actually, our customers are using it, so we are having it,
Yeah.
and we need to deeply integrate it in our product because it's the relevant content for our customers. So there's no question that we are working with them and give access and also deeply integrate with it because we see a benefit in also in the usage of our product, giving relevant content to our customers.
Is it specifically tough to reach that young audience as an established telco? You're nodding.
Yeah.
It seems that's a
Certainly.
yes.
It is. They're the most demanding ones, I would say.
How do you reach them?
Well, they having one at home, right? 14-year-old daughter at home. It's using so many apps actually just for chill time, right? So
Yep.
yeah, if I myself require 2 apps, for example, she requires more than 5 actively. So not only video, but also any other apps. Yeah, YouTube is definitely something which is really rising, and I am not surprised at all about it. So just giving them more of what they need, right? So they love music, they love proper good content as well, video content, gaming, sports, everything. So they have a completely different interests, and we need to focus on them.
Is that priority to say, I want to address the young audiences, or is that, well, I'm happy with what I have, or I'm age group agnostic? How does DT work with that?
I would say we are age group agnostic. I mean, in the end, we have a mass product. Yeah, so this is being sold to the entire population. Of course, there are markets where you see that sports is more important than the other markets. So it might not be the same in all markets. We have 9 different territories, from high GDP markets like Austria to low GDP markets like Northern Macedonia. Yeah, so of course there's no one size fits all. Although I'm always surprised that apart from the local content, the content portfolios do not vary too much. But in general, we have tried to cater all the different demographics, all different age groups. As I was saying, an idea might be to have that younger portfolio, maybe as a special portfolio. But in general, we are doing it across all segments.
On your side, Frank?
First of all, we need to acknowledge that younger target groups have a completely different media reception habit than others.
Yes.
I think that's clear. And if I have a 13-year-old at home, if I look on her consumption habits of video and content, it's entirely different to elder people. Is she today, my daughter, a customer of us? No, she's using the product. She's watching TV, but of course, does it maybe multiple things at the same point in time? There's a Snapchat, there's a Insta video, there's a Reel, whatever. So the consumption habits are, I think, changing, and maybe also the pattern of, for example, live TV is a background noise or background usage. Huh?
I have a 15-year-old. I asked her, do you know what an EPG is? She said, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
That cannot be true.
Yeah.
That cannot be true.
And I told him, so a year ago, Orange in Spain launched TikTok on the big screen. He said, so you can watch TikTok on the big screen. I said, what? Why? I don't want you to see what I watch. Yeah? It's a personal experience.
And again, where's the business model with TikTok?
Where's the business?
Yeah,
model?
so.
Good. So you have a silver bullet. How do we reach the younger audiences? I'm sure you have.
Of course I have. So
Tell
first,
us.
no, I think we need to index the relevant content. Even something like YouTube, there are a lot of different swim lanes that could be indexed, presented in the right way, where again the recommendation of these swim lanes, they would make sense. So that means again indexation on one side, so indexing YouTube or whatever piece of content we index, and then make them relevant for the audiences. And that again requires keywording or deep linking, deep content descriptors. That's what we can do.
Perfect. I see red blinking 0, which means we have run over time. But I want to just do a quick hands up. Who has intended to come to that masterclass where we talk about how would you invest $100 million? Hands up. Okay, that's good. You can get food outside, can take it into the room. I think we'll have space for 50, first come, first serve. Big applause for our panelists. Thanks you for
Thank you.
watching.
Enjoy lunch. Thanks.